Hello again, everybody. Welcome back to HemingwayLand.com, your source for quality, affordable land in the state of New Mexico. New property going live on the website today. This one in the intensely popular subdivision of the Tierra Verde Ranchettes out there in Cibola County. Intensely popular because, as we like to say, there are no regs, no rules, no HOAs, and no dues out here. You are not subject to county zoning. You are not subject to an HOA, a property owners association. There are no covenants, no restrictions, etc. Because of that, you're able to build out here what you like, you're able to park out here what you like, and you're able to camp for indiscriminate periods of time. In essence, people, you will not be hassled by the man. And you cannot say that about a lot of pieces of land in a lot of places, even in New Mexico. So that is why they tend to be intensely popular. Also, as you can see from the headline, they're very close to Cibola National Forest. So excellent hunting property, excellent place to set up a hunting cabin or a sort of staging area. Everybody goes out in the morning, goes hunting, comes back, regroups in this specific area. Ideal for that sort of thing and many others. So journey with me now, guys, as we go into specifics and talk more about this piece of land. This is reference number CBNM-5778D, like David, located as noted in the Tierra Verde subdivision out there in Cibola County. This property is a scooch more than 5 acres, and as you saw up top, it is priced at the very affordable $4,500. Let's pull it up on a map and show you guys exactly where it is. As with all of our listings, we got GPS coordinates down here, 4 corner points in the center. Click any one of them, and up on the Google Maps it shall appear. So first, let's go to map view. Let's pull back, talk about where this is in the state of New Mexico. Anybody who has watched one of these Tierra Verde videos in the past will know that I am probably going to say the same thing I have said in countless videos before. That being said, if you have not seen one of these, you are about to learn many, many things about this subdivision and about this region in its entirety. So I apologize in advance for the redundancy for those of you who have tuned in before. Whatever the case, Albuquerque is up here in the north central part of the state. Cibola County, of course, is over here in the west, borders Arizona to its west. This property, the subject property, sits roughly, if we right-click and measure distance, about 100 miles outside of Albuquerque, 90 miles according to Google Maps here. Whatever the case, that is an easy drive, most of it, of course, along the I-40 heading west out there. So you're going to be doing about 75, 80 miles an hour till you get out to the 53 here. And then you can make your way down to the subject property. Should be noted, as we are fond of saying in all these videos, Cibola County, of course, has more cows than people. It's one of those regions of the country. So it's a rural county. That being said, there is a lot to offer out here, particularly if you are an outdoor lover, particularly if you are a nature lover. We have, amongst other things, guys, let's zoom in on the map and go through them. We have the El Morro National Monument right over here. Ba-boom. We also have the Ice Caves and Bandera Volcano in this region. We have El Malpais National Monument and Conservation Area, all very close to the subject property. In addition, we have the Chain of Craters Wilderness Study Area. And if you are not into hiking, picnicking, camping, trail walking, so on and so forth, trail walking, we'll pretend that's a thing. We also have lakes. We have bodies of water up here. The Rainbow Reservoir, very close by to the subject property, in addition to Blue Water Lake State Park. And, of course, in both of these places, take advantage of all the fishing, boating, jet skiing, so on and so forth. That is typically available on water. Additionally, guys, we also have this giant splotch of green on the map right here, which we like to point out is over 300,000 acres of Cibola National Forest, where, of course, you can hunt, you can go hiking, camping, many, many trails out there as well, etc. And the species of critter that tends to be popular in this region for hunting purposes, elk, mule deer, wild turkey, so on and so forth. It should also be noted that within relatively close proximity to the property is not only the small town of Rama over here, but as far as for grocery and supply runs, Grants up here is not only the county seat, it is also the sort of population center of Cibola County. Here, of course, is where you're going to have your closest Walmart, your nearest Walmart. If I zoom in on the map, it should announce itself. Well, it's here somewhere, trust me. Anyway, nearest Walmart's out here, guys, as well as, of course, a number of fast food restaurants, the Grants Milan Municipal Airport, and, of course, the Cibola Hospital are all in this area. So, again, grocery and supply runs out here to Grants, which is roughly, again, if we right-click and measure distance, ba-boom, 20 minutes as the crow flies. Let's plan for about a 30-minute drive back and forth to the property because this one is a little rural, and we do have to trek through some rural regions to get out to it. Rural regions is what I just said. Anyway, So let's talk about this, guys. Tierra Verde Ranchettes is a 4,500 acre subdivision located just south of the 53 out here. It occupies pretty much all the space that I am circling here, roughly all of this space. This particular property is a 5-acre lot. Like most all of the lots in this region, the entire subdivision is pretty much all 5-acre lots. And it sits out here in this area, Unit 4 of the Tierra Verde Ranchettes subdivision. If I go back to map view, which I like to do to show you guys a sort of outline of the parcel, the plat overlay, that's not available here. That is not linked up with Google Maps through Cibola County. That being said, if I direct your attention back down here to the listing page, we have the helpful Google Earth overlay to give you a sense of the general size, shape, location of the subject property, as well as we also have the plat map here, because people love looking at plat maps. So this is the property itself. Even though you are not seeing space here for legal easements, there are legal easements to all of the properties in this region, legal access to all of the properties. I misspoke earlier. This is Unit 5, not Unit 4. But the point is, guys, you will be able to get out to the property without having to cross other people's lands. Now, that being said, as we go to the photo gallery here, and I'll remind you, if you're not familiar with our website, if you're not familiar with our properties, we get all of these properties photographed. So the photos that you're looking at here are from the subject property itself. These are not generic images that we pulled off Google Maps. Whatever the case, guys, what I want to show you here is these roads that lead out to the region. Some of them are better than others. Some of them are marked better than others. Some of them, I don't want to say are easier to drive than others. The whole region is all pretty much the same. As far as degree of difficulty with driving. You're going to want to take a larger vehicle out there. You're going to want to take an off-road capable vehicle out there. This is not a region which I would necessarily take the Toyota Corolla to go driving. But nonetheless, all of the roads are basically defined as about as much as this road that you're seeing right here, with a few rare exceptions of the main roads that go through the subdivision. Whatever the case, this is the road out to the subject property. And as we go through the photos here, you will see, amongst other things, that number one, there's a good amount of vegetation on the property. There's some cutout regions for space that you can actually build on. And there are some areas with trees, of course, for some privacy, a little more, I don't know, shade, we'll say, etc. That's not necessarily something that you find within the entirety of the subdivision. If you go back to the map, you will notice that the lots just to the immediate west of the subject property, pretty much barren, not a lot of vegetation out here in these areas. But this one itself does sit very close to this area right here. It does have a good amount of trees on it. So for those of you who are looking for property with, a fair amount of trees on it, this is a good one for that, particularly within this subdivision where you don't necessarily find a lot of that. As we go through this, as noted, you will see nice flat piece of land, easy to build on, easy to park something on when you've got an RV, something like that. Additionally, it should be noted there's actually fencing out here along the eastern boundary of the property, which you can see right here. You can kind of vaguely make it out on Google Maps, but the point is you have fencing out here along the eastern boundary. These properties in Tierra Verde are usually marked. They were surveyed and staked back in the 70s. It's difficult to say whether all of those stakes are still out there or identifiable. Some get overgrown with time. That being said, it should be staked. But even if it's not, you've got fencing here along your eastern boundary, giving you a good sense of exactly, at the very least, where your property ends to the east, etc., etc. I will let you guys go through the photo gallery on your own time. I will also, however, just direct your attention down here to the last few photos. We've got some drone shots of the image. And you get a sense from this not only just sort of how pretty and picturesque Cibola County is in general, but also just sort of the nice mountain views that you have from this region. And of course, you can see the Cibola Forest off in the distance there, very close to the subject property. And as noted earlier, it makes these lots sort of ideal as hunting lots. Not necessarily that you would hunt within this subdivision itself, but you're not too close to easy access to the forest. Where, of course, you can go out there. So we do tend to sell lots in this region to a lot of people who go out here, build hunting cabins, and then they have sort of a staging ground for when they are not hunting, place to sleep, place to camp, so on and so forth. Should also be noted, guys, that we're going to have a drone video up here at the bottom of the page. This one right here. Oh, there it is. Which will give you an excellent sense of the property, the terrain, the surroundings, and just in general what this subdivision is like if you're not already familiar with it, if you haven't acquainted yourself with it through previous videos that we've made. So, as noted when we started the video, we were talking about how this is unrestricted land, and I just want to get into what exactly that means. When we sell these, we are fond of telling people that, as I said earlier, no regs, no rules, no HOAs, no dues, and that you can generally build out here things that you can't build in other parts of the state. That includes tiny homes, includes shipping container homes, yurts, so on and so forth. Now, I don't want to give you guys the impression that you don't have to abide by environmental laws or by federal law or by, you still have to build things up to code if you're going to build out here. But the point is that as we write down here, Cibola County has no formal zoning designation for this. And what that means in Cibola County, as well as some other counties in New Mexico, is they tend to defer to the subdivisions. If a subdivision has a property owners association, if they have an HOA, if they have covenants and restrictions, they will defer to those and let the specific subdivisions dictate what can and cannot be done within their boundaries. This subdivision, however, Tierra Verde, does not have that. It is not subject to that. When the subdivision was created back in the 70s, and we talk about it here in this property-specific bullet point, there were covenants, there were restrictions at the time, but they were set to expire in the 90s per a vote of property owners in the region. There are 7 units of land that make up Tierra Verde Ranchettes, and in units 2 through 7, they elected not to continue with their covenants and restrictions. Unit 1 was the only one that kept them, that maintained them, etc. So as this property is in Unit 5, you will not be subject to those restrictions. So essentially what we just went through here is that there are no covenants, no restrictions, there's no HOA, there's no property owners association, and there is no formal Cibola County zoning ordinance. So as noted, it opens the land up to a lot more possibility than what you'll find in other places. Not only that you can build some of the aforementioned things, but also just that you can camp here for indiscriminate periods of time. That you can take an RV out here, even if you don't want to build on the land, even if you don't want to live on the land, you can go and you can RV out here for 3 months a year or something like that. And you really don't have to worry about, the sheriff coming along or somebody coming along and giving you some ticky-tack fine because that thing can't be parked here for this many days, or however you're disposing of waste isn't the proper way, so on and so forth. So those are some of the many benefits to properties in this region. Now, I just want to direct your attention here, guys. If you have questions about this region, if you're genuinely curious about, I think I might want to buy this, how can I learn some more about this area? We have some helpful links down here under county contact information. As you go through these, if you click on them, they're going to bring up the respective listing pages. The first one that we like to point out is just the Tierra Verde Ranchettes has a website. It's not a website that gets updated a whole hell of a lot, but they do have a lot of information here about property within this region, about the history of it, etc. So if you do have some questions, just kind of navigating this is going to be an excellent way to teach yourself whatever I haven't already discussed in this video, what I either don't have time for or don't remember to talk about. Additionally, this website also has a very helpful FAQ where they talk about, amongst other things, things like, is there cell phone coverage in Tierra Verde, etc. Which generally my photographer reports kind of spotty cell reception out there, that they seem to suggest that it's good. So maybe it's carrier dependent. Are there survey pins in place? This and these talk about individual lots being marked in various units, how they're marked, etc. Which is why we say that there's probably stakes out there. We've photographed enough properties in this region to know that we do occasionally come upon survey pins, or more often than not, come upon survey pins. So it's reasonable to anticipate that you are not going to have to get the property surveyed, that if you dig around out there long enough, you're going to find the survey pins that indicate your specific property boundary. So it's another one of the benefits. It's another one of the things that people like about Tierra Verde. Whatever the case, this FAQ is pretty helpful. Additionally, we also have links there to the Tierra Verde Ranchettes Facebook page where, hey, look, our company comes up. Look at that. This, of course, does not look like it gets updated a whole heck of a lot. December 24th, 2012. Being the last update. Merry Christmas, it says. That being said, if you do reach out to people on here, they tend to answer pretty quickly. They tend to give you a lot of insight. And these, of course, are landowners, they're homeowners who are in this region. Now, additionally, I should also point out, we went through a whole photo gallery of pictures here. We didn't see any utilities. The entirety of this subdivision, this roughly 4,500 acre subdivision, is largely devoid of utilities. Over here in this region, Unit 1, this has more of them, number one. And number two, there's a utility easement out here that runs along this road, which is called Mason Ranch Road. You can kind of see it on the map a little bit. But these tend to be where any sort of structures in this area that are hooked up to the grid get built out here. Pretty much everybody else who's in this region is relying on solar power. So you should anticipate, if this is something that you're looking at as something that you want to buy and build on, unless you have a lot of money to throw at the local power company to get them to extend power whatever it is. I think it's 3/4 of a mile or something to the nearest. We have it up here on the table. Nearest power line is located about 4/5 of a mile southwest of the subject property. So from here down to, yeah, right here, that's the nearest power line. So that's a pretty big distance to get power extended. That's a number of power poles. Most likely you're not going to want to do that. Most likely you're not going to want to pay for that. So you should anticipate, if you do plan on buying this property with the intention of building, solar is ultimately going to be the way that you're going to bring power to this lot. And I should mention, there's actually a number of people who rely on that out here, most notably as far as within close proximity to that property, this guy. We know this guy has solar out there because we've had pictures of his property. We've bought land pretty close to him, and I believe these are actually some solar panels that he has hooked up there. I think that's what we're actually looking at here. Point being, there are no utilities on the land as far as power, so solar is going to be the thing that you rely on. That being said, if you do, guys, if you do want to reach out to the local utility company, Continental Divide Electric Co-op is the power company that covers this region. Their website, of course, is linked right there. If you do want to reach out to them and talk to them about, I'm buying some land out in Tierra Verde, Ranchettes, you know, can I actually get power extended to my property? What's that going to cost me? That's going to be a good conversation to have with them. They will be exponentially more informative on that topic than I ever can be. So FYI. Additionally, guys, we also have a link here to the Office of the State Engineer. These are the people, this is the office in New Mexico that's responsible for water rights, for well permits. If you want to drill a well out here and you want to investigate the cost or the logistics involved in that in advance, this is an excellent website to use. Additionally, we always recommend talk to well drillers in the region. They're going to be able to give you a sense. They're intimately more familiar with their local circumstances, their local water table, how far they've had to drill in certain regions in the past, than even the statewide office is going to be. On this website, by the way, guys, you can find well logs, you can find logs of wells that exist in the area, and by the area I mean the county, and how far down they had to drill for those, but you're not necessarily going to get a, you know, oh, it's definitely 50 feet down here, oh, it's definitely 350 feet down right there. That's not the kind of information that you get. That being said, I will point out to you, when you see this much vegetation on land, when you see this much green in an area, it usually suggests that the water table is not too prohibitively expensive to tap into. But again, that is something, if you're considering spending, you know, roughly $5,000 with us or anybody else buying a piece of property, that's something you should investigate on your own. Okay. Anyway, with all that said, guys, this is a property that we closed on through Quest Title. So we did get title insurance with this. So we will be providing a warranty deed on this property. If, guys, this is something that you do want to purchase, just come up here, click the Buy Now button. It's going to take you to a secure checkout. I'm going to ask you a couple pieces of information we need to do the conveyance, to execute the conveyance. Legal name for deed, tax address. You fill out all this, agree to the terms of service, click next, and on the very next page, you're going to enter credit and debit card information to purchase the property. For the record, guys, like all the properties listed here on HemingwayLand.com, we own them. Our company owns them. So once you give us money, as far as we are concerned, you own them. Practically speaking, it takes about 3 weeks before you're going to have a deed recorded with the county in your hands. The way this process works is you give us money, within 24 hours, you've got documentation in an email, new deed, some supplementals. Once you approve everything, we're going to autograph it, we're going to notarize it, we're going to mail it off to Cibola County to record. They're going to record it, and then they're going to stick it back in an envelope and mail it to you, and that will be your proof of ownership, etc. So as noted, it does take a couple weeks just to go through all that. But again, once you give us money, you want to go out there, start partying, start camping, start building, whatever, that is fine with us. You are the new owner. Anyway, guys, with all that said, thank you for watching what is now my, I feel, 7 millionth video I've done on Tierra Verde Ranchettes. Much appreciated. And if you have any questions, leave us a comment here on YouTube, shoot us an email, support@HemingwayLand.com, or there's always a phone. Pick it up and dial 702-919-7170. We love hearing from our customers. With all that said, guys, we will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.